Right, we are live. Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to the Kiwi Lads channel. We are back for another match of the Champions Cup, the final, quarter-final match, and it is an absolutely huge one. Bordeaux getting themselves a massive victory just last week up against the Leicester Tigers. They are going head-to-head up against Toulouse, a side that bet the Bristol Bears. Now, these two teams, they're extremely even on paper. They're extremely even in the betting odds, and it seems like this is the type of match that, to be fair, we've already had some pretty phenomenal ones in the quarterfinals, but this one could take the cake as the biggest match for the quarterfinals. But the two sides are just about to make their way out onto the field. I am thoroughly excited for this match. Some really awesome head-to-heads taking place throughout this contest. Antoine Dupont versus Maxime Lucu Jalabert going head-to-head with Intermac Ramos versus Rayasi. There are some really awesome little mini battles that will be taking place throughout this contest, and as you can probably tell, I'm thoroughly excited for it. It's about 2 a.m. here in New Zealand on a Monday morning, but I don't think anyone's caring about that just at this point in time, because with these two sides going head-to-head, it is must-see, and you definitely don't want to miss it. And tell you what, we had a pretty decent preview, or kind of prelim, for this contest as well. Exeter Chiefs versus Benetton going down to the wire. That game separated by just the 3 points. A lot of games throughout this weekend have been close, whether that's Bath versus Northampton, or we did see yesterday that first contest being relatively close between Toulon and Glasgow. Currently we've got one French side through to the semi-finals. We're guaranteed a French side through for this matchup here as well. I will mention if Bordeaux win, they will be hosting Bath in the semi-final, whereas if Toulouse were to win, because of Bath getting themselves the win in the earlier quarter-final, it would mean that they would be heading to England for the other semi-final that has taken place. We have got their tasty Sunday treat, says Jimbo. Absolutely, these two sides, like I said, stacked with talent, stacked with the ability to just turn on to an absolutely awesome match between these two teams. It's going to be a good one, hopefully. As long as it doesn't have that same situation we talked about a couple days ago, how it seems like this game's been hyped up to be the absolutely awesome one. Hopefully it delivers. Or else I'll be a little bit sad, seeing as, you know, on paper, should be absolutely outstanding. We have got cheering for Toulouse, because if they win, they will play Bath at MK Stadium, which would be weird, says Big Rig. Yeah, some of the Champions Cup quarterfinals maybe didn't quite go as some people did anticipate. Toulon beating Glasgow, I know, was considered the biggest upset. Even Bath up against Northampton was considered a little bit of an upset for this Bath side. But then at the same time, you see them on paper and you go, yep, you can understand why they made their way through to the next stage of the comp. Short notice on this one, says Robert. Yeah, we did schedule the stream about, I think it was 8 hours ago or somewhere around there. So a little bit less time to get prepared for this contest. Although throughout this weekend, I have been talking all about this matchup, saying how it is one that we are thoroughly looking forward to, and the two sides are now out there on the field in Bordeaux, so it is not too far away from the matchup taking place. We have got, are you working later? Yes. But this game will finish at about 4 a.m. I've already, I guess, had my sleep for the night. I managed a few hours earlier on. But, yeah, woke up to see what was a really awesome finish between Exeter Chiefs and Benetton. Now, hoping for a pretty entertaining one here at the same time. Hey, Hamish, there is a storm approaching the North Island. True, very true. I think it's supposed to hit at some stage very shortly as well. So hopefully everyone in the North Island is safe and all prepared for what looks like it's going to be a bit of nasty weather throughout the next little while. We have got, after over 5 consecutive years straight as a Flow Rugby subscriber, I have to part ways with them yesterday and put in a dispute with my credit card because I wasn't able to log in and they wouldn't address it. Is it just rugby-related things that have that? I actually have a different thing. I'm not going to call any rugby company thing out. But I've had the same problem with a certain rugby application, how I can't get into the account. They say it's linked through Apple. I go through Apple. They say, no record of it. Yet every year I get charged for it. And I messaged them. I said, hey, this seems a bit weird. And they said, oh, yeah, what's your account? Told them what it was. And they went, oh, yeah. And just didn't do anything about it. I had the same thing happen to me with Flow Rugby. Says Justin, so it's a bit of a Flow Rugby thing, is it? Did Toulouse win last year? No. So last year, Bordeaux were able to beat Toulouse in the semi-final to then go on to the final and win the whole Champions Cup. So this game, I mentioned about it earlier on, and it's a bit of a bold claim, but I feel whoever wins this game wins this Champions Cup competition, unless something drastic goes wrong. So, of course, if Toulouse win this game, they have to do it as an underdog or an away side. Whereas if Bordeaux do it, they get to play Bath in Bordeaux, which you'd have to say would put them in a pretty good spot. But this one just about to start up, ladies and gents. Let me know your score predictions. I haven't seen anyone saying either of these teams are going to win by a massive margin, unless you do support the team on a regular basis. I know there's been a bit of a rivalry building for these two teams. They are both considered as some of the best out of the top 14. Toulouse are currently sitting in the number 1 spot. I believe Bordeaux are about 3rd or so, but still have a very good shot of winning the whole competition. And the crowd, they are loud, they are singing, they are excited for what should be an absolutely phenomenal match, and a big eye to keep out for Salesi Reasi in this game, coming off the hat-trick in the last match up against the Leicester Tigers. I mention it time and time again, there is a reason that Bordeaux locked that man in for a longer contract within about, I'd say, maybe 6 months of him being there, and it is because he has been an absolutely clinical finisher for this team. And that is a bold statement when you've already got Louis Biarray, you've got Jalabert, Damien Pinot-Mofana as some of the guys in your backline. It just shows you how good Reasi has been. But today he goes up against Thomas Ramos in the 15 jersey battle. Good day all. Hamish, did you try the amazing Greywidge? You said you wanted to try it. I did not say I wanted to try it because I don't like mayonnaise. But you said you were going to. So hopefully you enjoyed it at least. We have got there Toulouse, says Cameron there. We also have got Rugby League is way better, in my opinion. Yeah, there aren't really many Rugby League games taking place at the moment, are there, in terms of this hour of the night? Unless you're a Super League follower, you watch the Super League as well, Aussie Guy YT, or you're just into your NRL as your main comp. Jack Willis looks hungry. A lot of these boys look fired up. I'll be honest, this seems like one of those games that for these two sides, they know that it's a bit personal. They know that there are a lot of bragging rights, and no team want to return after this game with a loss. I switched from yearly to, or monthly to yearly. They took the 155, less 20%. Logged me out on both of my devices, and I tried for 2 hours. And finally called the bank to dispute it, says Mo. And that's, yeah, it seems like it's something that happens quite often with not just rugby-related things, but it happens far too often for like a time where everything's all technology-based. Like, it's not that hard to have a customer service part of your application or your website or something just to help people. But a lot of them go, no, we don't need someone there. We'll just, we'll reply when we want to. We have got their translation to 4 in the afternoon in South Africa, says Kyle Julius. These two sides are still in a huddle at the moment. I thought this game was kicking off at 2 a.m. New Zealand time. It seems like it's probably going to be 2:05. I'm not sure why either, to be honest. I don't know what the delay is. Maybe it was initially going to be 2:05, but Antoine Dupont just having a bit of a team talk. Why is it delayed? I have absolutely no idea, to be honest, but maybe they're just building up the hype, and to be fair, it's working. Would rather watch paint dry than seeing scrum repack 10 times, says Aussie Guy YT. So you'd have to assume you don't watch the games while you're on the streams, right? Because we were talking about it yesterday, how for the Super Rugby ones, you were here for a long time. So you'd have to assume you had a second screen going with the NRL on, which in the end, that game ended up being a little bit one-sided between the Sharks and the Roosters. I may have jinxed that a little bit. It was 4 points separating them, and then I start talking about the game, and I think it ended up with about a 12-point gap. Where are you watching this? I'm watching on EPCR TV here in New Zealand, so got the season pass nice and early for the Champions Cup, and you can watch all of the games all the way through to the final. If you have got that season pass, they also have weekend passes, game passes. Now, ready to kick this one off. Jalabert with the ball in hand. We are underway. 5 minutes later than anticipated, but it's just meant that everyone can get that a little bit more excited about this one. But Jalabert at home kicks this one off, and Toulouse, they will receive the ball inside of their 22 with Antoine Dupont, who gives it an almighty hoof downfield, but doesn't manage to find touch. Salesi Reasi, he stands out like a sore thumb with those bright orange boots that he is wearing today. Be able to see exactly where that man is at all times out there on the field. He's been covering some turf as well for Bordeaux. And signing for the team, Jalabert back in the pocket, kicks it up high. Louis Biarray going up for it, but Ramos safe under the high ball, manages to take it nicely. Tere Toma down the wing. I mentioned there 2 tries in the 5-minute period last week. Most big games wait for safety officers, okay? Says Jimbo there. Safety officers. It's something do Super Rugby have safety officers? I feel like we don't. We just kind of go, yeah, we'll kick off about this time. Oh, that's a knock on there from Jalibert. Bit of a mistake. It seemed like there was some hand involved from Toulouse, but it is forced to knock on. Dupont going away to the left-hand side. Intermac with a wide cut-out pass. Drop ball there backwards. And they'll go back now. Oh. Okay, Matthew Carley called advantage over, I believe, and then actually came back to it and said, actually, I feel like I've got the wrong call there. We'll go back for the scrum. In that situation. Listen to your commentary and use my imagination. Says Aussie guy YT. Terrible time for me to say we've got our first scrum of this contest. There's going to be a bit of back and forth between these two sides. Big front rows. Pietro Malvaca in the starting lineup here for Toulouse. There's so many good head-to-heads. Like I said, is Dupont still the best number 9? Or is he past his prime by now? I don't think he'd be past his prime for a few more years at least, Antoine Dupont. Has he had a couple rough games that everyone likes to base their whole opinion about this man on? Absolutely. But, you know, you look at him for Toulouse and, you know, in the French top 14, he completely tears it up. Maxime Lucu, he does very nicely as well for this Bordeaux side. Actually suits their style really well. But I feel like there was a patch there, and I feel like some people are still experiencing it, how it's cool to hate Dupont just because he's quite good. And if he's not from the country you're from, everyone goes, you're not allowed to like him because there's some sort of thing that's illegal in rugby about liking someone from another country that doesn't represent you internationally. Now Dupont with the ball in hand, tackled low by Maxime Lucu. Now going off to the left-hand side. Going to be the big man at number 1, David Aniu. Now trying to get the steal and the breakdown, not quite able to there for Bordeaux. Gelange sitting there just inside of the 22, Cameron Walker, I think it might have been. Trying to get the steal and the breakdown. Now Dupont goes on the outside. Teddy Thomas sees the pass from Intermac. Dupont beat Leinster in the final. Cut above everyone else, says Jimbo. And also we got the Rugby League's non-stop action, says Aussie guy there. To be fair, I think that these two sides playing will be a bit of non-stop action as well. Some of the Champions Cup games we've had so far in the quarterfinals have been absolutely phenomenal. That Bath versus Northampton game definitely comes to mind. Currently, Toulouse still attacking from just outside of Bordeaux's 22. Low tackle made by Maxime Lucu, but the ball is stolen by Bordeaux. Seemed like Lucu could have been offside, but he's kicked that ball in behind. Bielbiaré, pure pace, and he just misses the kick to be able to go for the grubber into the opposition 22. Dupont now with the ball in hand, runs at Jalibert. There's a big boo raining around the ground. I'm not too sure what that one's for. There'll probably be a few of those with a big home field advantage for Bordeaux in this contest. And Final Fantasy 9 is the best 9 in my opinion. Says says Big Rig. Now going for the box kick, Antoine Dupont. And behind Bielbiaré says that it can be Maxime Lucu, who will return with a kick of his own. Already 4 minutes has passed in this matchup. It's felt like, honestly, a minute. Now Intermac kicks it in behind. This is a good strike at the ball too. Could be a 50-22. It just goes into the in-goal area. It will pull up though. So it doesn't look like Jalibert is going to be in any hurry to force this ball down. I believe it's about to become a goal line dropout. I don't know if he put the ball down. Yeah, Toulouse. Right. Jalibert was confused at why Toulouse were tackling him. But I don't know whether or not he actually put the ball down there, Jalibert. Penalty kicks in rugby are worth nearly as much as a try. How silly, says Aussie guy YT. Not really. Like, it's worth 3 points. A try converted is worth 7. Rugby League, 2. Is it 2 still, or is it 1 now for the penalty? It's 2 for a penalty, right? So it's a 3rd in Rugby League rather than 3/7 in rugby union. So there's not actually that much of a difference. Now, ball's there. Nicely going away to the right-hand side. I like the fact that drop goal's only worth 1, though, to be fair. Now, ball's there. Dupont going away to the right-hand side. Into Max. Short ball almost feeding Santiago Chocabarez through a gap. Now, Dupont looks for a bit of space on the short side. Tito Malvaca has to play half. Oh, there was almost a knock-on there on the ground, but he decided to play it himself. The crowd are booing. And that one has been picked up by Matthew Carley. It will now be scrum feed for Bordeaux. Whoever wins this game, they will face Bath. Either in Bath, if it is Toulouse, or in Bordeaux, if it is this Bordeaux side. It was just in that breakdown. Pieter Malvaka was about to play the ball. It looked like it was Teddy Thomas' boot. Ended up just knocking it out of his hands. They're showing that foot race though for BORDEAUX. He managed to win it up against Investec, but just missed the ball. No Hamish. Says Big Rig. No Hamish what? Will not be in Bath. I'll be in Milton Keyes. Oh, sorry, I should just say home game for Bath, shouldn't I? For the biggest stadium, says Big Rig. Yeah, I don't think they were planning that, were they? To be fair, but it could happen. According to French media, the winner of this game will get awarded the Blue Cheese Trophy. Says Xander. NRL added a new rule last year. Drop goals past 40-metre line are worth 2 points. Oh, so a third of what a try is. That's getting a bit high, isn't it? Now, scrum feed here. We're going to get a reset. That's why it's weird. It'll be a home game over 100 miles away from home. You see, I don't know my English geography very well. Because, like, if someone said point to Bath on a map that didn't have, like, anything labelled, even if it was labelled, I probably wouldn't be able to find it. Same with, like, Northampton. Same with, like, even finding London on a map. That's one part of my, well, actually, there's many parts, but one part that I absolutely have no idea about is English geology. I almost said geography. I know about English rocks, I just don't know about where they're from. I mean, how's Bath is near Wales? It's up there somewhere, isn't it? We have a bath at home, says Xander. We used to have a bath, but now scrum feed. Going to be still the feed for Bordeaux. That knock on from Pieter Malvaka. Ball is put in by Maxime Luku. Now going away to Jalabert, looking for the cross kick already. Chasing this after this one of Bertie, just not able to take it cleanly. It looked like a knock on. Referee, yep, they now call it. I'll still be a pro Bath crowd, but it's still funny, says Big Rig. Bath is west, MK is in the middle, 109 miles apart, says Big Rig. We're going to see that cross kick, though, from Jalabert. There was the space, and to be fair, Bertie was right there ready to take it on the bounce. I actually don't know what made him drop that, other than just a handling error, you know? I don't know if it was looking up and seeing the fullback coming over, getting ready to tackle him, or hearing the footsteps behind him. Although you wouldn't be able to hear too much, I wouldn't think, out there on the field with how loud this Bordeaux crowd have been thus far. But 8 minutes into this contest, it is still 0-0. There's not been a lack of opportunity for either of these sides. I find that soccer fans are more fanatical than us rugby fans. I think it always depends on who the person is. But we talked about it, I think it was yesterday or the day before. Rugby fans who go to games in stadiums are very different to online rugby fans. Like, there is night and day between them. And it's kind of like a weird difference, but it's that whole thing of having a screen and a random, like, anonymous account that brings out the worst in people normally. Like, of course, you can also, like, you get a lot of good ones, but there's the bad eggs that kind of filter through in the rugby community, sadly, and they're the ones that slightly don't represent rugby that well. That one's going to be grabbing him behind. That's a good kick from Thomas Ramos. Online rugby fans are very humble, says Xander. I can give you a suggestion on how to improve the rules of rugby. I'll give you a hint. It's called League. Well, there is a League World Cup taking place later on in the year. We are going to be covering it on the channel, so we will get to watch both games in action. It's a very good kick from Ramos, just creating the angle. Very open stadium. Need your sunblock, says Jimbo. And over to Callis, as half the distance of Bath to MK, says Big Rig. Is Callis in Scotland? It might be Ireland, actually, is it? Maybe. This weather is disputing my coverage. Might as well go to sleep. This is BS, says Katsanel. Whereabouts are you based, Katsanel? Are you North Island or... Oh, that's going to be a drop ball. And just knocked on from Toulouse there. Now, they have got themselves the advantage. It looks like Maxime Luku once again go for the kick up high. France, okay. And we have got there checking YouTube live rugby. You're not listed. That's unusual. That is a bit. Did you get the notification? I know that some people get a notification 30 minutes before we go live. But then it also only sometimes sends it out. I think YouTube's notifications have been broken for about a decade. 11 minutes into this contest, and it is still 0-0 between these two sides. We haven't seen Bordeaux inside of Toulouse's 22. As of yet, Toulouse have had some limited opportunities inside of the Bordeaux 22, but haven't been able to get their way through. I don't know, I'm not a very loud person, but in the stadium I'm surprised by myself. And got it 25 metres out. Says Jimbo, and I got the notification. Says Robert. And there too now, Toulouse. Going away to Santiago Chocobarez. Ooh, DuPont thought about playing that one, but leaves it for Teddy Thomas. Now gets it away to Francois Cru. Now left-hand side. And we'll be waiting patiently out on that wing. We haven't seen a lot of Lebel as of yet, but we know how quick he can be for Toulouse in these type of matches if they can just get that cross kick right. So Jalibert attempted earlier on for Bordeaux. Toulouse do have one up their sleeve as well. Into Mac at the helm. Mofana trying to go for the counter-ruck. Here's Jack Willis. Carrying from the English international. A goal on left-hand side. Gelange. About 25 out from the line. Dupont goes in behind. Santiago Chocobarez runs straight at Damien Pinot. In a bit of a 50-50 game last week, Jalibert manages to rip the ball out of the hands of the Toulousian player. Now going off to the left-hand side. A little bit of a counter-attack here for Salisi Rayasi, but he doesn't end up linking up with his teammates, and there's a knock-on the ground. In fact, it becomes a penalty to Toulouse. It was a big mistake from Salisi Rayasi. He thought about going for the counter-attack, but in that case, just making the crucial error of not passing the ball maybe when he should have. We have there just a minute. We both know rugby league is superior code. Who you fooling? Says Aussie guy. Well, I definitely watch more rugby union. But it's one of those ones, it also, when you really think about it, doesn't matter. You know, like if you like rugby league better, good on you. If you like rugby sevens better, good on you. If you like rugby union better, good on you. If you like watching tennis at like 4 a.m., like who's to judge? I watch rugby at 4 a.m., so like it is what it is. But it's also quite interesting how deeply offended people get when people don't like what they like. And it's like there's literally over 7 billion people on this earth. They're not all going to like the same thing. But that's the beauty of it. You don't have to. Now going for the rolling maul here. Ball's on the side of Toulouse. This one's been turned around, and it doesn't seem like that's going to be coming out too easily. Dupont had eyes on the ball, but wasn't able to bring it out there. So it is now Bordeaux's scrum just out from their own line. Well defended, and that will be a big confidence booster. Toulouse at times would have considered taking a 3, definitely in playoff rugby, but they felt like their pack was strong enough. Bordeaux have tried to shut that one down straight away. We have their Union League, Sevens, NFL Golf. I watch mate drive power slap. Says Big Rig. I like pizza and Will Jordan. Says Salomon. And there, that's a good combination. Watching a Crusaders game, pizza in hand. Although, of course, he didn't play in that last game, and they did play a bit rough, to be fair. That's the thing with watching TV on data. If the weather is bad, it's a losing battle. The old analog TVs that use radio frequencies ever freeze? That's a question for our slightly older viewers, as I'm not sure. That was slightly before my time a little bit, or at least when I was at the age of having like that type of like TV back in the day with an aerial, I wouldn't have known how it worked. Now scrum feed, that's a big push from Toulouse, but Bordeaux actually win themselves the penalty. Tight head cranking, that was Dorian Aldiegre. Nice run here from Jalibert. So the opportunity for a counter-attack, but the ball's being dropped there in the midfield. The knock-on from Damien Pinot. They'll go back now for the scrum in favour of Toulouse, but a quick little snappy moment there where Bordeaux thought about going for a full-field counter-attack. It was Mathieu Jalibert. It seemed like a good play in the end, but it was just that pass from Mofana that didn't quite find the hands of Pinot. And to be fair, Damien Pinot could not catch anything last week either. That one just a little bit behind him. I think they're learning now with Pinot, just in his recent form, if you don't pass the ball literally into his hands right out in front, he's been putting a lot down. Welcome back to you, Rugby Itch. Julian Shaw, Inside Rugby with Mark. I look at expressions oozing. Salad TV, Ma and the Curtis Show. They get very angry on stream. YouTube, then we are. Wait, compared to you, they get very angry on stream, then we are. As in, like, when they're, like, them personally or, like, audience-wise? I assume them personally, right? I don't think I've ever seen Rugby Itch angry. And all the time that I've ended up hanging out, like, doing videos with him, like, I can't think of a time that he's been, like, sounding annoyed more than, like, a second. Now, going off to the left-hand side, Antoine Dupont, trying to snipe it on the short side. Create a chance here for Toulouse. So it came from that knock on, and there's another one. This time it is Lebel. Wait a minute, they've said it's gone backwards. In fact, it's a knock on against Bordeaux. Must have hit a hand. I don't think that's ruled as deliberate, so it is just going to be a knock on advantage. And now they'll go back. Which is worth power slap, all that heads up rugby stuff, where they just run head to head at each other. So you're talking about run it straight, I assume. I think power slap's got to be worse for the brain, just because in the run it straight, you can sometimes avoid head contact, but like neither of them are good for you at all. But where's that one? They're just saying there, the knock on coming off the Bordeaux player. Okay, Matthew Carley said he has one in the in the tackle by Blue. First was in the tackle. The crowd are not happy about it. Maxime Luku, he is accepting of that decision. Xander, when we're kids, high atmospheric pressure wiped out the signal. Usually in May and June, when all sorts were at the finals. Good afternoon, amigo. Says, pleasure, welcome in. You are doing extremely well. I hope you're excited for this one. We're yet to have a point. But to be fair, it's been very eventful. Throughout that first 17 minutes, run it straight is stupid. Most ex-leagues condemn it. Says Aussie Guy YT. You see, it's a very, like, tricky one, isn't it? Because you're always going to have people, no matter how, like, dangerous something is, you're always going to have people who go, yep, it's a good idea. You know, someone decided climbing up a rock face without any sort of harness just to have a little bit more adrenaline going is a good idea. And it's like, if you can do it, fair play to you. But, like, at the same time, from an outside perspective, that seems quite dangerous, doesn't it? Because you might fall off the cliff. But people will still do it. Nice hands there from Dupont. Now 18 minutes in at the moment. A little bit of a counter ruck coming here from Bordeaux. That ball was about to be on their side and someone accidentally kicked it forward. They've now got themselves the penalty advantage. And Maxime Luku, that one's going to be charged down, I think, by the referee, actually. So they will go back now for the Bordeaux penalty. Gets worse. He also, he's a scumbag who escaped prison being a multi-millionaire. Who are we talking about? I must have missed one there. Oh, yeah, no, I see that now. And afternoon, Hamish, bonjour. And it worked well in winter when you needed TV most. Says Jimbo. See, in a way, though, that was back in the simpler times, wasn't it? That was when, like, people used to read the newspaper. I like reading the newspaper. We don't get the newspaper anymore. You can read it online, I think, but it's not the same. Did I just sound quite old? Are you okay? How's the voice? The voice is struggling, but it's still here. So that's the main thing. Line out throw here, Lamouth. Going to be putting this ball in. The game won't compare to Dragons beating Zebra yesterday. That's fair. Yeah, another away victory for the Dragons in that competition. Tell you what, they've got to do it. Like, if they do it third time in a row, they can get through to the final, which would be quite incredible. That's an incredible turnover. There from Jack Willis in the breakdown. Bordeaux had the ball about halfway, and Willis, lightning quick, gets in, rips it off them, gets it straight back on the side of Toulouse, who are starting to get a little bit more of a dominating stat here. Teddy Toma, ball on the inside to Intermaki as the man on the outside goes back on the inside to Toma. Now Antoine Dupont, missed tackle from Biel Biarray, finished off by Mofana. Into the 22 of Bordeaux once again. Willis with the wide cutout pass. Good rush defence there from Jalibert to try and shut it down. Ramos goes for that cross kick to Lebel that I mentioned about 15 minutes ago. Lebel stepping around everyone. Going to the right-hand side now. And Ramos manages to bump off Lamouth. Ball's still there. I think they were asking for a penalty there, Bordeaux. That was very optimistic because I think about 3 players were in off their feet. Now round the side of the breakdown. That one's going to be held up over the goal line. And it will be now the goal line dropout. I'm about to sneeze. 1 second. We'll go like this. We'll go like that. We are good. And come on, the Ramos. You get charged £1 for the pleasure of reading stuff online. Yeah, they're all saying now you got to get those monthly subscriptions, which is a shame because sometimes you just want to read a random article. A guy in Sydney twisted his knee when he was playing tag rugby when a pothole full of sand gave way on a council oval. That seems very specific. Was the guy you, Aussie guy YT? Going off to the left-hand side, we had someone in our cricket team who pretty much just ripped their ankle to shreds from the outfield on a cricket field. There was like a hole where they had all the sprinkler gear and everything like that. Just cranked the ankle sideways and was out for like a year. And then he did his other ankle climbing down off a ladder, so he's had a bit of a bad run. Tiri Toma, though, they're just showing that attack from Toulouse. It's quick, it's snappy, and if you're not careful and you miss a tackle, all of a sudden it turns into a try. Great defence, UBB, but Willis cranking up the pressure. Yeah, his turnover in the breakdown was about the smoothest, I think, steal in the whole weekend that we have seen. Just lightning quick, over the ball, rips it onto the side of Toulouse. Lamothe now with the line out. We are 22 minutes through this game. Rolling in a forward direction here for Bordeaux. The crowd starting to get behind them a little bit more. Maxime Lucu going away to the left-hand side. Jalebert, he's actually been blocked by his teammate there when chasing after that one. Lebel. Oh, this one's going to be a penalty. In favour of Bordeaux, this one is for the initial rolling maul, though. And hey, Ruth says, Jimbo, as a Scarlets fan, all I can do is wish all the best to the Dragons from Steel City. Well, the thing is, right, it sounds bad to say, but they weren't supposed to still be in the competition. So anything from here, literally anything from before that last game for the Dragons was a bonus. But that bonus has just got even bigger with how they just keep on somehow winning games away from home. They've won in France, they've won in Italy, and they just keep on going. The guy tried to sue the governing body, but they found out it was Step that caused it, so it was thrown out in court. Says Aussie guy YT. Yeah, I don't know whether or not our cricket teammate would have won his case either, because they would have gone, oh, he should have just watched out for the hole. And what do rabbit ears and wire coat hangers have to do with each other? They give you better reception when transmissions were hazy and snowy, reception from TV analogs or analog TVs. For the start, the first sentence I thought it was a joke, and then it sounded like it was actually quite a bit of information. In the end, that went right over my head at 2 a.m. This is a nice rolling maul, though. Lamothe right at the back, and they will go over Bordeaux. Big blow of the whistle from Matthew Carley. And after it's looked like Toulouse were going to be scoring the first try in this contest for the past maybe 20 minutes, Bordeaux break through, and they managed to score a crucial try there. Two Giants of rugby smashing each other. Padsa says Jimbo there. For White Padsa said it's 0-0, although you've come in, and about 2 minutes later now, there is a try. In fact, less than 2 minutes. You might have been the lucky charm there for Lamothe. Manages to go in and score that try. It's off that rolling maul. We did actually see one last week for Bordeaux in similar fashion, but this one crucial. Has a starting British line on the bench. That's impressive, says user. There's some pretty stacked teams in France, I can tell you that right now. But yeah, like sticking my arms in here for a second, having someone like a Blair Kinghorn, massive, to bring him off the bench late for Toulouse. In terms of the bench for Bordeaux, we've seen Barlow do very nicely as of late. That one's missed the way to the side for Maxime Lucu. Timo Mathieu, big solid ball runner. Ben Tamefuna, the Tongan international. Anyone who didn't see his try last week up against Leicester Tigers, I would recommend looking it up because that was a phenomenal finish from that man. Just pinned his ears back, ran over everyone in his way, and just carved through to the try line. But with the missed kick, makes the score 5-0 in favour of Bordeaux now. And they keep pissing us all off. Good for them. Rabbit ears were old-time aerials for televisions from last century. Wire coat hangers were one of the greatest inventions ever, says Michael. It is kind of cool to think back about some of the things that have been created. Nothing technological or anything like that, but just the good old-fashioned, random things that help out. And you wonder how they actually came up with them. but it's probably a bit above my pay grade. Some smart people in the world, isn't there? No, nice run forward here. Oh, he thought about reaching out, but couldn't quite spin the arm away. Toulouse, this is guaranteed try, and it is the try for Roman into Mac. It took them maybe 23 minutes to not score. As soon as Bordeaux do, it takes them about a minute, and they score their own try. This game has gone from 0-0 to 5-5 very quickly. But now Toulouse, they have the easier kick. It was the drop ball from Mofana initially. It gave the possession to Toulouse. Jack Willis is having a big day at the office at the moment. Didn't take long. Yeah, sometimes the floodgates, all it takes is that one moment and it completely opens up. Good distribution there from David Aniu in the front row to be able to pop that ball back into the hands of his number 10. Thomas Ramos, he doesn't miss. Or at least, well, I've probably just jinxed him there. I think I did throughout the Six Nations as well. Padsa is our lucky charm. See, here's Jimbo. Yeah, he's coming and they've scored twice. He'll be going, why don't they just do that the first 20 or so minutes? That only just went over from Ramos, but it's going to make the score now 7 points to 5 in favour of Toulouse. Our game is just waiting for you to start. Says Justin there for Ruth. But into Mac. Going in behind and just running it round over the try line. You see there, Bordeaux feeling a little bit caught out there, and that was all down to that drop ball. Passes après contact. I assume that's like passes after contact, and that's 9-0. Oh, big driving tackle on Lebel. I don't have a lot of French up my sleeve, unfortunately. Where can I see the match? I'm from Argentina. I think Argentina is EPCR TV as your option, but I definitely recommend checking out their website first to make sure that it is all right for you to be able to watch on there. Wrap a coat hanger around your car radio aerial. Increases the reception by hundreds of kilometres. Does it? I didn't know that. My car aerial struggles when it goes into a carport. So that might be a good idea. Like as soon as I go into a carport, it goes and gives up. That might actually be me just hitting the garage though. And that might be that noise. But now this one's going to be kicked in behind from Toulouse. Looking for the 50-22. That one's going to roll very close to the sideline. And Biel somehow keeps it in the field of play, uses his pace. Normally it's on attack that he's using it, but that one it was defensively working. Come on, Toulouse. Says Big Rig. We have got there, Merci, Monsieur La France. That's a big word. Greniel. Brilliant. Says Ruth. I was just reading that they discovered a bunch of 12,000-year-old stone dice that prove human societies were gambling before we even built houses. Well, there you go. That was quite popular in the 70s and 80s here, Michael, says Jimbo. Okay, I think Matthew Carley was just saying that there might have been a slight touch from Toulouse, but he didn't see it at the time, so it is going to be a Toulouse line out. Or is it? Oh, that's a big moment. It was a 50-22. So Biel wasn't able to keep the ball in the field of play, which now means that they'll go right back here to a line out for Toulouse. We're going to see the replay. Yeah, his foot was on the touchline. He was then in the air. And it might have been the heel just brushing the line as well. The crowd are not happy about it. They've said there is a tiny touch, which does now mean that Toulouse get the attack going, and this one's moving nicely. Pietro Malvaca hanging on to the ball at the back, told to use it once here for Bordeaux. Just a one try from Lemuth at this stage, moving it away to the left-hand side into Mac. Passed on the outside, goes to Ramos. He has LaBelle with him. Now popping it back in, and he will cut on an inwards direction. A bit of a counter-ruck there from Bordeaux. In fact, it's a bit more than a slight counter-ruck. They absolutely bulldozed over Toulouse in that breakdown, and they will win themselves the penalty now. Put 3 wire coat hangers in your plug socket. You have a 3-way multi-power board. Do it when it's off, right, though, because like that sounds like a recipe for getting electrocuted. He's not allowed recover the ball jumping from in touch, says Jimbo. That's what I thought, but they were more focused on the slow motion of his heel. But yeah, I always thought it was if you were because he stood on the touchline first and then caught the ball. BORDEAUX is a poor player. As in financially, or because I feel like that's a sentence that no one's ever said in their lives, in that man's career, with his clinical try-scoring rate that he's had ever since he started his career. He has almost got a guaranteed chance of scoring in every game that he plays in at the moment. BORDEAUX. About 30 minutes into this contest now. When I was a kid, I thought a ball boy was an awesome gig. Like, when you're older, you don't like the idea of being a ball boy. This is a game that decides who wins the title, says Platypus. See, that's a comment I've made a few times. And some people don't like it because, like, I'm in agreement. I think whoever wins this game, it'll be trickier for Toulouse because they have to do it away from home next match. But, like, Bordeaux, if they win this game, they've got a very good shot of going all the way. I could teach him a few tricks, says User. So which team do you play for currently, User? And Louis BORDEAUX, multi-millionaire and top contender for World Player of the Year, says Jimbo there. Don't poke anything into a plug at home like they're to get fried. Yeah. Even electricians. I've thought about becoming an electrician at times in the past, and then I think, I'd just do something wrong and get electrocuted badly. Now Jalibert goes off to Damien Pinot, passes on the outside to Louis BORDEAUX, flying down the wing, goes for the chip in behind. It's going to be a well-taken mark. Oh, from Teddy Thomas, who did drop the ball after calling mark. Now, depending on how technical you want to be, that can count as like a mark null and void. I'm on the wing for my village club. You're not, to be fair, some of the boys around play like lower levels of rugby in terms of like the non-televised stuff. There's some pretty snappy wingers about. That one's gone high. Jalibert takes it a little bit too far. Ramos decides to take that mark and he will go for the kick downfield. Salisia Reasi right next to the sideline. I talked about his bright orange boots heading into this matchup. We haven't seen a huge amount of him with ball in hand as of yet. Oh, that's a nice take initially from Miafu. Then knocked on the ground. Penalty awarded to Bordeaux. Do you take the 3 here? Have you had poor reception on the radio or TV? You can extend the reception with a wire coat hanger and extend it further by wrapping it in tinfoil, says Michael. You see, I quite like coat hangers. They're quite handy. Not for that reason, but even just for the slight purpose of them as well. They seem to be doing their job. I feel like there's not really anything fancier you can get. You know how some things have slowly been upgraded? Like, you know, you go from a toast holder to like an actual toaster, all that sort of thing. A kettle going to an electric one. Like a coat hanger is a coat hanger. You can't really, like, unless you got something that like rotates, I guess. Like a rotisserie chicken for clothes. Now Lemouth ready to throw this one in for Bordeaux. It's a good position on the field currently. Nicely taken by Adam Coleman. The number 5 jersey. Getting wrestled in a sideways direction here at rolling maul time. It is what brought Bordeaux their last try. They're not too happy about something that's happened there in the breakdown or in the rolling maul. It's been shut down by Toulouse. And that is now going to be a scrum feed. Don't bag the coat hanger. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying the coat hanger is literally ideal. And you can't like design it in any other way that would actually make it better than it already is. This is my favourite sports channel on YouTube. Says Aussie guy, I bet you wish we only covered league though, don't you? Yeah, Louis BORDEAUX as one of the best wingers in the world. Coat hanger, excellent pipe cleaner too. Says Jimbo. Toulouse just knows LBB well. They're keeping him in a box, says Cameron. Yeah, he hasn't actually had a huge amount of the ball. But then the thing is, Bordeaux also haven't gone to his wing that often as of yet. It seems to only really be when he's inside of their own half that they've been able to get him the ball. And then he's kind of had to run it downfield. They're talking about Milton Keynes as the location where Toulouse would be playing if they were able to get themselves the upset win here. Pont kicks downfield. Taken by Reasi inside of his own half. Now, almost able to break through Teddy Thomas' tackle. Big clear out in the breakdown. Some more physicality being shown. Back up to his feet. That was almost slow motion there for Bureau, but it works out in the end. Jalabert, skip pass to Cameron Walkie, takes 2 men to be able to drag him down. Says Cameron. Now, Jalabert tries to bump off Chocobares. Doesn't get through him, though. Now back across to the left again. Carry from Coleman. Much needed phase play here for Bordeaux. Louis Bielbiarre, a little way off his wing there. It was Palu running it. And it looks like it's going to be a steal here. The breakdown again, beautifully done by Toulouse. Our coach is like a 2 cents piece on a needle arm of your turntable, says Michael. And the Blues lose the game yesterday, and the Hurricanes beat the Blues 42 points to 19. They did, yeah. Oh, that one's gone straight sideways off the boot. Couple upsets along the way in Super Rugby. We did see the Reds get themselves the big win over the Crusaders, which does still keep the top 6 a little bit open. Had it not been for the Reds winning, I think top 6 was almost going to be pretty much confirmed. Now the Crusaders are the side that may miss out. We see it there, Miafu, the man who got onto the ball, initially ripped it away. Currently 4 minutes now remaining in this first half, though. Some deep breaths being taken by both of these sides. New Zealand has won both League and Union. World Cups back-to-back, 2008 and 2011. Says Aussie guy YT, nicely taken there at line-out time from Flemont. Now looping around, Pieto Malvaka, short ball to Chocobares. Only 5-7 it is at the moment. It has certainly not lacked tempo and excitement from these two sides. Beautiful steal from Bordeaux there. And the breakdown, these two sides seem to know each other very well. And as soon as there's that half opportunity for a breakdown steal, they jump on it. Damien Pinot says, Ruth, been very quiet. The only thing that he's done so far that I can think of the top of my head, is drop the ball that led to a counter-attack from Toulouse. Luku quiet, says Ruth there, but it's a good clearing kick from Roman Intimac. We see it there. It was the tackle made by Jalabert and Walkie, and then BureauX getting straight on the ball after he was actually involved in the last moment where there was the steal. New Zealand's won both League and Union World Cups back to back. That's the same one as you put before, I see. Now Lamoth ready to throw this one in. Only 3 minutes remain of this first half. Nice take from Coleman. Maxime Luku going across now, looping around the back. It is Gazzotti. One more try here for Bordeaux before the halftime break could be absolutely vital. The outcome of this game. Maxime Luku goes across now, looking for the kick. Oh, that's a high one on Pinot. That looks like two players have almost knocked each other out in the process. And it was a big man. Dorian Eldihigri was one of them. So that is not a good collision for Damien Pinot. They might be checking this one currently with the TMO, but for now, Toulouse are on the attack. Antoine Dupont going back to the left-hand side, and yeah, they are now going to stop the game to check on Damien Pinot here. Looks like he's in a bad way. He did get hit what looked like relatively high and late in that collision. I wish that Brett Cameron made it into the All Blacks in the last 2 years during Razor's tenure. Could have helped our bad first fives problem back then, says Toa Slade. Yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see who Rennie actually goes with in terms of those younger 10 options, or whether he does just literally go McKenzie, Moonga, Barrett in the future years. Gotta admit, I was expecting this to be a high-scoring game, says Big Rig. Yeah, see, I don't know if I thought it was going to be like high-scoring, but I definitely thought it was going to be close. That's a hard one for Pinot. Yeah, that's quite bad from Dorian Eldihigri. The problem that he's got is he didn't pull out of it, that tackle. And they are going to be checking it here. And D-Padza says, Jumbo, yeah, it's looking like at least a yellow, isn't it? Now, Eldihigri, I want to say there's not intent behind it in terms of he hasn't looked at it. No, that looks worse on that angle. It looks like he's kind of hoped that him jumping across wasn't going to connect with Pinot, but it just does right on the jaw with a flying shoulder. There's no way you can look at that. Matthew Carley saying he's trying to tackle the player. He's not trying to tackle the player. Eldihigri stays down for a little bit of time, I believe, because he realizes how badly he may have messed up. He has clocked the jaw of Damien Pinot, shoulder directly to the head. I don't think Eldihigri gets out of this with any less than a yellow. And in fact, this may even be considered as worse enough to be a red card. Okay. High danger. 20-minute red card is going to be the decision now. Ramos boot to win it, says user. No offense, but I kind of want to see New Zealand lose a bunch of games now. Just solely for the drama of how the fans will react after firing Razor for losing some games. Yeah, that's the tricky thing, isn't it? If Rennie has less than a 78% winning record, what happens there? Like, do they have to get rid of him before the World Cup as well? LD he does apologise to Pinot. Of course, those guys have been teammates in the past, but that was a nasty knock, and unfortunately just bad timing from LD Egri. Like I said, from the first initial angle, it kind of looked like he was trying to jump past him, but because he's a prop compared to Damien Pinot, a centre, it just didn't work out timing-wise, and he just got smacked right on the jaw, Damien Pinot. To be fair to him, looks like he's going to continue. I would have thought that man would need an HIA after getting a shoulder to the head from a prop. By future years, you mean when Barra and Mo'unga leave New Zealand for good after the World Cup in 2027, and McKenzie being the only experienced player left in the teams, says Toulouse Live. Yeah, see, that's the thing. Rennie, a lot of people are saying, oh, he's going to bring in new players for the World Cup, 10 jersey, but the chances Rennie might just literally go the same 3 for that World Cup and then look at changing it a little bit. Because the thing is, he's been given very little time. We're only a year and a bit away from the World Cup, and he hasn't even had a game in charge of the All Blacks yet. But now, well, shock. Okay, now he is going off the field for an HIA. I don't know how they thought that he should have been able to stay out there for as long as he did after that collision. Definitely because he stayed down for like 2 minutes. He's going down the tunnel, and I would not be one bit surprised if Pinot does not return out there onto the field. Big decision to make for Bordeaux here. I guess that is going to be the question of, do they go 3 or do they go corner? And the answer is they have already gone corner. It is going to be the line out, the Muth from 22 metres out from the line. And it's nicely taken by Adam Coleman. Now looping around Lamothe, who's already got himself 1 in this contest. Now going to the left-hand side. Carry from Boris Palu. Maxime Luku. Cross to Coleman. Mofana, he tried to pass it on the outside. Brilliant work from Dupont, though, to be able to get a hand on it and slot it back onto the side of Toulouse. Now going for the kick in behind. And just like that, Bordeaux lose about 60 or 70 metres from that play inside of his 22. Jalibert looking for the sideline. Doesn't find it. Intermac was back to cover. Now around halfway. Passes across to Pietro Malvaca. And be wrestled down by Boucheton. That ball might be playable just about for Toulouse. Yes, it is. Intermac moves away to the right-hand side. Ramos. Ball on the outside. This is open space. Beautiful inside pass to Ramos. Ball on the outside. Teddy Thomas runs into the corner. And it's the try for Toulouse. Brutal for Bordeaux. After having the chance down the other end, it was the hand of Dupont that managed to get it back onto the side of Toulouse. And after a bit of an aerial kick and battle, Toulouse managed to run in the try just before the halftime break. But oh well shook, says Jimbo, as he should be. I would actually be more concerned if Pinot hadn't been hurt from the shot that he took there. I would have been questioning what that man's jaw was made out of. And the mix says Ruth. But yeah, the ball on the outside of Teddy Thomas from Ramos. The Thomas, well, I guess the Thomas and the Thomas linking up. Are they cheering that in Bath right now? Says Big Rig. Yeah, they might have a home-ish game coming up in the future. And that is going to take us over to halftime in this contest as well. An important kick for Thomas Ramos. Like I've said, he does not often stray away from the middle of the post. I don't think there's a huge amount of breeze that they're dealing with for this game. One hand of DuPont rips 2 hands of Mofana. He's missed that. 12 points to 5. As Jorah's made of wire coat hangers, says Michael. And we have got there, it was strangely in the Crusaders with 80% of the All Blacks players missing in that game against the Reds yesterday. But yeah, Will Jordan out with a calf injury to be confirmed when he will be back. Cody Taylor out with hamstring to be confirmed when he's going to be back. I think Blackadder's still out currently. There's a lot of guys on that injury list, not just for the Crusaders, just in general for Super Rugby, which is why, you know, there's been so many questions of like, who would I have as my All Blacks backline or my All Blacks four-pack? But honestly, we could still see 5 changes because of injury heading into those ones. So I feel like it's a tricky one to announce so early who you think is going to be where, because, they might not have Will Jordan back for the rest of the year, depending on that calf severity. It didn't seem like any sort of injury, though, in the actual game last week that, really, really seemed to be serious, but it could be. Calf muscle could be out for 6 to 9 months, depending on what it is. But halftime in this contest, 12 points to 5. Maybe a little bit lower scoring than some people thought, but certainly entertaining for the first 40 minutes. There's been a red card for Toulouse, and the fact that they were able to score with the 14 men on the field as well is a little bit of a bonus, you'd have to say, for this Toulouse side. Ramos is human. See, there's Joe Mann in there. Yeah, doesn't often miss, like I said, but he has actually missed there. Sitting 12-5. That would have been a good one to get over too. Could have been 14-5 heading into the halftime break as the away side, but Toulouse, I would like to think they're currently favourites in this contest. I'd be very surprised if they weren't. But there's a few players out there on the field at the moment, and this is going to sound quite harsh, but there's some guys who haven't even looked like scoring. Men who dominated in other rounds of the Champions Cup in terms of just such dangerous try-scoring threats, been slightly mitigated in this game. I guess Will Jordan will have to go the way Pinot and Freeman has gone to 13 to allow chasing high ball specialists on the wing. I don't think so. I think that they're either going to play Will Jordan as 15, or if Jordie Barrett decides that he wants to be back to his normal position of 15, they might stick Will Jordan on the wing. I don't think we'll see Will Jordan in the centres. They're more likely to go with either Leroy Carter or Moni Narawa. It's transitioning into the centres, I think, then Will Jordan. Or you've also got, Quinton Pi's perfect option, fill in if you have to play Jordie Barrett as your 12. But it's whether or not Rennie still is going to put him in there. Enor, McLeod, Williams, Kamara injured. Did he get injured in that last game, right? Because he was playing for the first half, right? Taha Kamara, he had a couple good breaks. Blackadder, Taylor Jordan, all missing from the Crusaders. So here's Michael. Yeah. I think, honestly, you listed all those guys. One guy out of all of them makes all the difference, and that is Will Jordan. We've seen it, how many weeks ago? It was when Will Jordan went to a wedding. So he was away for that game up against the Blues. Terribly timed wedding. Whoever it was out of the friends, I think they were from Auckland, and they were strategically pulling Will Jordan away. But, you take him out of the equation. The Crusaders look like a whole different side, but not in the good way whatsoever. You bring him back in, and they look like they are contenders. Who would you prefer to be the All Blacks, captain of the All Blacks? I feel like it depends, because Savia seems like a good choice, but now the media have really ripped his name to shreds. So, maybe Cody Taylor is your next guy. Would you have put Pinot and Freeman at 13 2 years ago, says user? Freeman, maybe. I'll be honest, I'm not sold on Pinot as a centre yet. He's had some great games there, but I think the general play of a centre, I don't know, he just doesn't quite do it for me yet. His brother's wedding, says Michael. Well, his brother must know someone from Auckland, because that was a weird game to be missing. And surely his brother knew it was Crusaders Blues right at the time. All that Captain Blackadder. I don't even know if Blackadder makes the squad, though. That man, unfortunately, the longest time recently that he hasn't been injured is 5 minutes. So until he can really sort out the injury troubles that he's had, and he's been so unlucky, because there's probably been times that he's been 100%, that he could have been selected for the All Blacks, and they haven't chosen to go down that route. Unfortunately for him, then, he'll be in the NPC and he'll get injured through that comp. Cody Taylor, for me, hard worker, has that no-nonsense attitude, says BTW Padza. And LBB and Jalibert, says Ruth, and there as well. Well, they're doing a little bit of cheerleading now for this game. I think they did that last week, and Bordeaux came out absolutely firing in the game up against the Leicester Tigers, although to be fair, they were firing in the first half as well. This game has been very different from what both of these sides experienced in their round of 16 matches. Bordeaux, they were able to score, I believe it was 64 points up against the Leicester Tigers for Toulouse. They were able to score themselves 59 points in their game up against the Bristol Bears. Toulouse one man down. They are Dorian Aldigri. He is out for the rest of this game. 20-minute red card, and then we will see someone else come on as the replacement. In that case, I think it's Joel Merkler who will be making his way on. But for the next 20 minutes, they will be down a man, and they've already scored during that period with only the 14 on the park. Which again, just kind of, I guess, confidence-wise, doesn't really do Bordeaux too much good whatsoever. But Toulouse, I think as a whole, and correct me if I'm wrong, if you guys feel otherwise, but I think Toulouse, from what we've seen in that first half, they do deserve to be in front. It's close, but they've had the better attacking plays, it would seem. Bordeaux, every once in a while, will have that big break that almost gets them that try. But as a whole, it just seems like Toulouse have had those couple more crucial moments and a bit more phase play, controlling the game that little bit more. I feel bad for Tottenham Hotspur's fans when they might get relegated this year from the English Premier League. They're a big six team for Pete's sake. Well, they are a big six team for Pete's sake. Says TOULOUSAIN. See, I haven't followed any of the Premiership, but like I don't know who they've got at the moment, but that's not ideal for Tottenham Hotspurs. I remember when they were supposed to be like top 3 side for a very long time, back in the probably Harry Kane days. Since then, I wouldn't be able to tell you. In fact, I could have half a guess of someone who's at Tottenham now, just based off who used to be there, and maybe they're still hanging around, but I wouldn't be able to tell you like 3 players from that side, let alone 1 at the moment. Seeing some practicing of the lineouts on the sideline from the, I think those are the ball girls. Be interesting to see how the lineout goes in the second half. That is where we saw the 1 try being scored from Lemouth and Bordeaux. Outside of that, we've seen the 2 tries, Teddy Toma, and also the try earlier on in the contest for Roman Intermac. The assist has to go to the big man, David Aniu. Was able to shovel that ball back. What would be your current starting 15 for the All Blacks? That's a good question, Tim. I mentioned earlier on that I'm very hesitant giving any sort of starting 15s because of the amount of injuries that we've seen. And I really worry that if I say someone in the starting 15, they're going to get injured in like the next week or 2. And I'd feel bad. I think that Quintupaya for me at this stage, though, is one of the biggest guarantees as an All Black starter. Now, whether or not they're going to have to try and squeeze him in at 13 because of Geordie Barrett playing 12, that is up to Dave Rennie. But I think based off his current form, there's no way you can leave Quintupaya out of a starting 15. So he's one guy I would say at the moment. Bet you he gets injured now. If he does, Tim, I am actually going to blame you. Hopefully you're all right with that. But yeah, he's one guy that I think can't be left out of the side at the moment. He's my one guarantee. The Kiwi Lad curse? No, the rugby itch asking the question curse. Maybe. We could do a video on it at some stage, but I think we've got to wait till the end of the Super Rugby season, don't we? Because or else then it's just going to go badly. Good afternoon, Timmy. And Proctor, says Ruth. See, I'd still, like, Proctor's in great form. And I think that the problem that Proctor's got is he hasn't really been given much of a chance at the All Blacks level without Geordie Barrett on the inside. So, like, Quintupaya, Billy Proctor, probably a pretty handy midfield combo if it was actually given time to bloom. But Barrett's name's going to be in there somewhere, isn't it? Unless, of course, Rennie goes, you know what? No. Leroy Cardamage says, Roof hasn't been playing a lot of 13, though, for that man. He's played a little bit, couple games, but I definitely wouldn't pick him over Tapia in the midfield. Tapia's just, he's been on another level once again, touch wood. I don't actually know if that is wood. It's like it might be MDF or like fake wood. Where's some real wood? That sounds like wood. We'll go with that. But yeah, hopefully he can avoid injury throughout the rest of the season. There's already quite a few names. Like Will Jordan's still to be confirmed, like I mentioned, in terms of his calf injury. So for all we know, he may already be out for the season, and they just haven't told us yet. A game any good? Just woke up. Flew here, RIP. Says Dennis. Well, hopefully you didn't catch it from me, because last week I was out for for sickness for quite some time. And to be fair, I'm still sick from it, so not ideal. Hopefully you are resting up and you are recovering. It's been an exciting game, I think. Some people, it's actually weird at the moment because there was a whole big debate about Bath versus Northampton. And people were saying, oh, how can either side be happy with their defence? And but it was a thoroughly entertaining game. And I feel like if you're looking at entertainment value, this game's had a lot of it. Yet some people would go, oh, but where are all the tries? So it's a weird, kind of middle ground you're trying to find. But I think that this has been a really solid showing from both of these teams. I feel like there's a lot more that's going to happen in the second half too. The intensity of that first 20 minutes where neither side were able to break through some crucial steals. But it all comes down to what happens now. Toulouse have got themselves a red card for another maybe 17 minutes or so. But during the first 3 minutes of that red card, they scored a try, taking the lead out to 7 with the kick missing from Ramos. So, they've got the momentum in some regard. And my Mexican salsa nachos are making my eyes water. Chili overload. Overload. Who do you think is better, 10, Jalabert or Intermac? You know how to ask some pretty good questions, Tim. See, in this game alone, I would probably say that Intermac has looked more controlled, but Jalabert has looked more of the X factor. In this case, I am still a very firm believer, based off what I've seen throughout the last 12 months. I would go Jalabert, and I actually said it before the Six Nations. I said he is going to be the best 10 of the comp, or one of the best 10s. He had a couple really solid showings. He had one game where he's a bit shaky, but I think that Jalabert fits so perfectly into the mold of what this Bordeaux side like to do, and that is just put points on the board, run opposition off their feet. But then Toulouse have played a controlled, methodical, planned out type of attack here, and it's been working well. So I think that both have actually had their good moments in this game, but I think if one of these two were going to have that big moment to change a game, it would probably be Jalabert, even though Intermac has actually already scored in this game too. It'll be interesting who Dave Rennie will be choosing this year for the AB side this year, Hamish. See his Toulouse Slade. Yeah, the lineup predictions, they're going to be tricky to do for a start, just to try and work out who Rennie's guys are that he does slightly favour, because of course he says he's coming into this with no sort of loyalty to anyone or any sort of biased. So yeah, we're probably going to get it quite wrong a lot. I think Sacha or Intermac says long coup, and there depends. I think on the game situation. Open game, you'd probably go Sacha because he has got that way of attacking. But in this type of matchup, I don't think the way that Toulouse have played, this is going to sound once again controversial, I don't think that Sacha would have been able to play currently at his stage the way that Intermac's played in this game. I think that Sacha would fit more into Bordeaux' style than he would into Toulouse's style. And I think if he was ever to go to Bordeaux, he'd probably go quite well as that attacking 10 option. But I don't think he's got the kicking game of Intermac in terms of general kicking play. On attack, though, not many better 10s at the moment when it comes to that side of things. But, yeah, it once again completely depends on the game that you're playing. Because if you're playing a slightly more Toulouse style, I think that if you were going between Sacha or Pollard, you'd probably pick Pollard in that scenario. Just because of the way that they're trying to manipulate a bit of territory from this contest rather than pure out attacking at 10. Sacha's an excellent player, says Ruth there. And Intermac says Ruth in there as well. Now it looks like both sides about to make their way back out onto the field. Coaches. I feel like Toulouse's coach will be a little bit happier with what he saw in that first half, although he won't be happy with that red card that they are going to have to play with now for the next, probably almost the full first half of the second. First 20 minutes or so, they could be down a man. Teddy Thomas, one of the first men out of the changing sheds. He's had a solid old day at the office. Teddy Thomas scoring the try out wide, also just showing that pace on Louis Bielbiare's wing. few changes that will be made. Of course, Merkler will have to make his way out onto the field at some point, I would think, throughout this 20 minutes, which would then mean that Toulouse have to lose a player from the forward pack, who are your loosies. There are some full loosies who have huge engines. They are smaller than the box loosies. Murray Mixted says choose your biggest, hardest players. There is validity. Yeah, see, it's a tricky one because if you're going your biggest and hardest in that number 6 jersey, is that someone like Osama Penny Finau? But then people go internationals, Finau don't mix. So you're kind of in a bit of a predicament because, like, you literally, because that's the thing. I always talked about it last year. Everyone was like, oh, Duplessis Karefi, he's so much smaller, or he's too small because he's smaller than Peter Steph Toy. And it's like, well, who isn't smaller than Peter Steph Toy? He's an absolute freak of nature and a massive bloke. Oh, early penalty won by Toulouse there. At the start of the second half, 14 seconds in. You can either go for the 3 here or look towards the corner. I think there might be a corner in the future here. But, pound for pound, it's very hard to go, pound for pound with the box based off their current size of the pack. So you have to try and beat them either in mobility or you have to find players who are just big enough who can then still play that physical role that you're after. And that's where someone like a Liam Squire used to be so good for the All Blacks because you just knew he was going to throw the body on the line. He didn't care if the bloke who was in front of him was an extra 20 kgs on him. He'd still throw his whole head into it, get concussed every once in a while, but he'd still go for it. Good answer, says Longku. I assume that's for that Sasha Intermac one. I probably went on a little bit too long, didn't I? I started going into full-on debate mode. Ramos lining up the kick at the post. And this is a gifted early 3. Kick goes down the middle. And that is going to make the score now 15 points to 5. Bordeaux now down by 10 at home. Position that they haven't found themselves in too often whatsoever. It's going to take a fair amount of work to get back into this. But again, they have a man advantage. Toulouse have actually scored 8 points since losing a man to a red card 4 minutes ago. We see Lamouth has gone off the field. That is for Barlow. Taken there by, was Gelange inside of the 22 for Toulouse. Bordeaux Bègles are going to need a big interception moment here soon. One's going to be booted towards the sideline by Antoine Dupont. It's gone into touch. About 25 metres out from the line now. Bordeaux with the attack and Barlow will have his first throw. He has not had one yet. This is quite a crucial one too, because this is the difference between Bordeaux starting to get a bit of an attack going. Pinot has not passed his HIA as well, I will mention. He is still off the field, although I don't think that was any surprise whatsoever. Is it time to jump ship? UBB don't seem to be a sharp self today, says Jimbo. I don't know about jumping ship just yet. They certainly haven't been on their A game yet, Bordeaux, but with a man advantage, you would think that there could be a big moment here soon. Definitely if we get a scrum. That's probably where the benefit will really come in, because that's when Toulouse lose a loose forward. Or maybe, tell you what, that's a beautiful steal in the breakdown once more from this Toulouse side, who have been lightning quick in that department. Here comes the run from Thomas Ramos, almost through. Maxime Luku has to make the tackle there. And onto the ball, but the penalty awarded to Toulouse. It's going to be for Gazzotti. Not rolling away. People go on about finding another Kano, but Liam Squire was amazing, says Michael. Yeah, I feel like Squire never really got his full flowers. Because, everyone goes Jerome Kano, those type of players. And then, to be fair, before Kano, that was probably Jerry Collins, was it? Before him. But, Liam Squire held the fort for a little while for the ABs in terms of being a very handy guy in that loose forward trio. And they're just showing that offloading game. We're going to see it here. And so they did say that he didn't roll out of the way, and that stopped the clean out of Toulouse coming through. Line out for Pietro Malvaca. The one was almost stolen by Adam Coleman. Looked like it might have been a knock-on. But it is going to be play on. Great interview with Kano before last week's match. Says Jimbo there. Going away to the left-hand side, Salisi Reasi kicking the one downfield. It's an awkward bouncing one for Thomas Ramos, who is back and ready to boot this ball into touch. Squire had personal obstacles, says Michael, which may be why he isn't getting the mention as well, as much, I guess you could say. Now, line out here, sitting about 48 metres out from the line. Bordeaux, they did claim their last line out. So that is good news for Barlow. The time is ticking. 13 minutes remaining of that red card. Still sounds like a lot of time. But this is where I think Bordeaux really need a scrum. Because like I mentioned, that would then take someone out of the jackling kind of department. Unless Toulouse lose a winger in that case, or a centre. And then if you go down that route, you've got a gap to be able to run through. That looks like a bit of shepherding almost accidentally from Bordeaux. The player was in front. I think it was Boucheton. Now backline movement here for Bordeaux. Tackle made on Gazzotti. No Bentame Funa, not yet. He is making his way off of the bench. And he'll be wanting to have another big highlight try like he had last week. Maxime Luku going away to the right-hand side here. Mofana tackled by Jack Willis. Pietro Movaka, he thought about going for the steal. Jalabert, but passes on the outside. It's going to be a good couple of extra post-contact meters made by Alberti. Now Chip and Jace from Jalabert. That ball close to the sideline, and Jalabert may have scored it. It looks like the try is going to be awarded for Matthew Jalabert. There's a couple things that need cleared up here before Jalabert has got this one. But he's gone for the chip in behind Jalabert. It's a loose ball. It's close to the sideline. I think it's fine there. And it sounds like they are still... Oh, that's very close to the sideline. But I think Jalabert has done just enough to keep that ball in the field of play, which is phenomenal work from him. And Jalabert, what a solo effect, or solo effort. Yeah, he went for the chip in behind initially. That ball bouncing in a weird way, almost going over the sideline. And that is where you need that little bit of luck on your side. But he is a dangerous 10. So now both 10s have scored in this game. But Maxime Luku right next to the sideline. He's 0 from 1 at the moment. Didn't miss his last kick from out near this wing also, but that one has gone straight through the middle of the post. That is the try that Bordeaux needed, and is now the try that they've got 12 points to 5. Or sorry, 15. This is the Champions Cup. How many teams compete in the Champions Cup? So you've got 24 teams that you start out with, I think. 24 or 32. It might actually be 32 teams. Wait, now I have to think about it. How many groups? No, 5 groups? You got 6 teams per group. I think it's 24, right? 24 sides in the Champions Cup. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Yeah, 24 teams. And then that becomes round of 16. We also see sides from the Champions Cup go into the Challenge Cup, who are ranked 5th in their groups. Now the ball's starting to get a little bit more momentum going. Jalabert thought about the wide cutout pass, now goes there. There's a lot more space opening up for this Bordeaux side now. 16 team start, says Brendan there. Yeah, so round of 16 then becomes quarters, which is where we are now. How are the 24 teams chosen? It's based off, I believe, the rankings. So that's where you see, top 14 as well as Premiership, URC. I believe it's the top, I want to say 8 from the URC maybe, go through to the Champions Cup. Going off left-hand side, almost able to pierce their way through. Maxime Luku does put in the fend. They just about catch him. Now the ball in the hands of Bordeaux, 10 metres out from the try line. Rayasi going away to the left-hand side. Biarray tackled low. Coleman the same. This game has completely been turned on its head by Bordeaux throughout the last few moments. Bordeaux Bègles looking to be very aggressive here. Oh, what a tackle. Right on the spot, and the offload from Jalabert. It's a mistake made. Kicking behind, it becomes a foot race. Retier gets back and manages to grab him. And comp places last season, says I am nutty there. And also we have getting lots of clenched butts and Bath right now, says Big Rig. Yeah, this is the type of comeback that Bordeaux needed, but Bath did not. And Maxime Lucu going for the kick towards the sideline, well taken at the back from Thomas Ramos. He's looking for a 50-22 of his own, and he's got it. What a kick from Ramos there. He's fired up at the back. Bordeaux on attack, says Ruth there. You can see it there, the celebrations at the moment. Maxime Lucu showing off the skill. And come on, Toulouse, steal the ball, says Ruth. But yeah, it was the initial mistake actually made by Jalibert. That one, that's a really nice kick from Ramos. It looked like it was always shaping to go out on the full. Just stayed in the field of play. So 24-16 to 8 to semis to final are all the knockout games. Pretty much, yeah. So you have a group stage with the 24 sides, 6 sides in the group, but you only play 4 of them. You don't get to play the other side that's also from your competition. And then from there it goes down to the top 4 in each group, go into a round of 16 based off rankings as well. And then you go quarterfinals, semi-finals, and then the the final on a neutral location. Outrageous by Ramos, says Jimbo. Yeah, when all momentum was against them, he just goes and throws a play like that out there to be able to completely take the momentum back for Toulouse. Now going to the short side. I do see Mathieu has made his way onto the field. That is for Boris Palu. Jack Willis. Big tackle made there by Ben Tamefuna, who has just made his way onto the field for Bordeaux. Drop ball. In that case by Flamand, and now counter-attacking chance for Louis Bielbiaré. Trying to fend off the defence. That looked a little bit high on him. And it doesn't seem like it's going to be an advantage, though, in favour of Bordeaux, who have managed to work their way out of their own 22. This pace of the game is getting quicker and quicker. Joulange is down at the moment with some sort of arm injury, it looked like. And Ramos go to man. Says Roof, that one's going to be kicked downfield just outside of the 22, taken by Thomas Ramos. Thought about going for the kick again, but instead now he's going to run it from the back, tackled by Moafana. Bit of a counter ruck from Bordeaux. Ball just stays on their side. That kind of looked like sealing off from one of the Toulouse players. He pretty much just flopped over the front so that it stayed at the back for Dupont. Now Thomas Ramos. Or in fact, no, sorry, it's Teddy Thomas this time. Going down the wing. Big fin from Dupont gets rid of Biarray, Ben Tamefuna, wrestling down Miafu, but another offload to Willis. Tell you what, they're saying there's a lot of tired bodies out there. I don't think they've told the players that. They are speeding up at this stage of the contest, 51 minutes through. Jalibert going back in field to Salisi Rayasi, who kicks it downfield off the left, puts it into touch, and everyone now can just take a little breath after what has been a hectic moment. But Joulange, I mentioned about that arm injury. He is done for the day. Taken off the field now. And it looks like some sort of arm. Yeah, he just didn't look happy as soon as he made that tackle, Joulange. Either shoulder, elbow, or something in that arm. Those 24 teams in this Champions Cup also have to play in their own domestic leagues. Correct, yes. So sides from the Premiership, the top 14, and also the URC. Jalibert is having a good game, ain't he? Says a big rig, yeah, massive try from him before. He's had some great moments on attack too. Into Mac, he's held his own for Toulouse. And like I mentioned at halftime, both playing very different styles, but both kind of bringing their own flair to this game, while fending like their children. Says Jimbo, that one's going to be nicely stolen there by Bordeaux on the halfway line for the line out. Now Jalibert back across to the left-hand side. Salisi Rayasi yet to score a try in this game. Can't quite pass on the outside to Bielbiaré. Moafana plays half. Jalibert, short ball to Lemouth, who's made his way back out onto the field. I assume that's for Barlow. I'm not sure when he actually went off, though. Now, Jalibert tries to fend. A loose ball picked up at the back for Maxime Lucu. Can't go through the tackle of Intermac. Now, short ball from Retier goes to Ben Tamefuna. That was brave from the Toulouse player. Tried to rip it off Tamefuna, which doesn't normally work too well. Ball's still there on the side of Bordeaux, though. Jalibert skip past to Mathieu. Tackled by Intermac. Had to make some crucial tackles. That looked like a knock-on in the breakdown. Referee rules it as off the foot. Jalibert kicking in behind. It will go into touch. It was Lemouth chasing it. So not a bad choice to just get that one out. And again, slow it down. There's Dorian Aldeigri there. They are just showing him. He's out of his Toulouse kit. He did get a red card. He got a head knock pre-half time. says, I am nutty there. And also at the bottom is strong man, says Cameron. And also we have got their game shaping up nicely for LBB. Overlap is coming, says Jimbo. And how many games altogether? This is why Northern Hemisphere teams send their B or C sides to New Zealand. No, that's due to the top 14. But in terms of the competition, you play 4 matches in the regular round. Then you play your round of 16. You play your quarterfinals, semi-finals. So 8 games in total over 8 weeks. But normally what happens, like for this instance, we've got round of 16 quarterfinals. Then the next round takes place in about 3 weeks' time. And then the final after that takes place about 2 or 3 weeks later. So it's normally like the in-between weeks. So it actually works quite well if you get knocked out early in these competitions because you get plenty of rest in between your regular season games. Is that a cat or a rat? Says Cameron there. Which one for? For the Ruths one, maybe? Jack Willis. He has had quite the effort out there on the field at the moment for this Toulouse side. 54 minutes through and just 4 minutes remaining now at the moment for this Toulouse side. Top 14 final in June, says Jimbo. Yeah, same with the URC, right? That's in June. Premiership too. Super Rugby as well. Yes, says Cameron, that's my dead cat that she's putting there in the chat. RIP for Billy. But now, line out throw here. Pieter Malvaka throws this ball in. It was almost stolen by Cameron Walkie. And it would have been a crucial moment there for Bordeaux had they got it. Now Dupont rolling this one back here again inside of the 22. So we'll be able to put this ball into touch. It's come off the side of his boot. Bielbiere takes it over the sight line. He thought about a quick tap there. Oh, my apologies. No, that's all good. I don't know where you get the rat from, though. I'm looking at it. Like, it's got quite big ears. He had a dodgy eye. That's why he's got the blind spot. But I'm not sure about rat. I would have thought, like, he got the ears of almost a bunny, I guess. Almost Easter. Oh, we have there, Billy the Cat. Says Ruth there. Now going off to the right-hand side. Now Moafana. Going on the outside, Jalabur. Oh, nice short pass. Alicia Reasi almost going through. But again, into Maccas everywhere when it comes to the defence at the moment. And Jack Willis, he ripped the ball away, but the penalty has gone against them for no rolling away from Intermac initially. Okay, you know you can't jackal with him lying there, as the comment there from Matthew Carley. We have got there, it's all over the top of my head. But I stay tuned in because it's great, passionate, and knowledgeable commentary. Thank you, says Michael. No worries at all. But yeah, so we've got about 2 or 3 rounds of URC and whatnot. And then we've got back into the semi-finals. They'll be taking place early May. Extra time coming, says I am nutty. Don't know. We almost had extra time in Exeter Chiefs versus Benetton. To be fair, that was probably the closest we've been to extra time. Henry Slade sorting over the kick in the 79th minute. Gazzotti, he will make his way from the field as well here. They've probably made almost all of their changes in that department. I'm just looking through, although Tian Jacobs I don't think has made his way on just yet. Nice take there from Bordeaux and breaking away Cameron Walkie. How have they stopped him? Maxime Luku to the short side. Retier is over, but he may have been held up. They're going to have to check this one. In fact, it might have been Pouchard. Tell you what, Jack Willis may have just made a crucial tackle right there. They are going to be reviewing this one. Okay, that was Matthew Carley just asking whether or not a player's tried to make a tackle with his leg. It is more down to the top 14 final being a week before the international window. So here's Sean O'Farrell. I'm going to see the replay here, though. So Jack Willis looks like he's had a pretty decent tackle effort here, but it's the leg. I'm not sure whose leg they're talking about there. Maybe the trailing leg of the man who was going to make the first initial tackle. I can't believe they stopped Cameron Walkie from that close to the line with the line break that he had. Seemed like he was for sure getting over. Are these two French teams? Are these the top teams in their division? So top 14 At the moment, Toulouse are sitting number 1. Bordeaux, I believe, are sitting number 3 in the standings currently. Technical rule time, says Jimbo. Yeah, might be a foot trip. It might have been Antoine Dupont too. We're going to see here. So Antoine Dupont makes the tackle on Waki. Then from there, they're checking to see whether or not Dupont does a foot trip on the short side. There is a swinging foot there from Antoine Dupont. He hits him in the shin. Now, does it stop him from scoring a certain try? I would say no, but there is a foot trip from Dupont. It's going to be a penalty and a yellow card, but not a penalty try. But I would have been big enough to score that. Says I am nutty. Yeah, well, he's currently concussed. So he's not an option in that scenario. Are we over there, Bad Frenchman, says Big Rig. And semi-finals played weekend of the 9th and the 10th of May. The finals, is it 9th and the 10th or the 3rd and the 4th? We're going to have a quick look, because I always thought it was the first weekend of May that it was taking place. I'll have a quick look on their website. Yeah, so the semi-finals confirmed for the 2nd, 3rd or 4th of May. With Leinster and Toulon being the first one locked in. But it's an effort and a half from Jack Willis to get back, but Dupont now will be off the field for the next 10 minutes. And isn't this the second dodgy Toulouse tackle of the game? Says Big Rig. And Dupont like a demon tackler, and Dupont dragging Waki to the ground like a cheetah. Or was it a tackle? It was a trip. Says, I know Jack Willis's was a tackle, though. And he does deserve a lot of credit for what he was able to do to stop them from getting over. Theo Intermac says Splash TV. I assume you're talking guy off the bench, right? Different to Roman Intermac, who's in the starting lineup. If you have both hands on the player, then it will not be a foot trip. Yeah, he didn't have any hands on the play. He just stuck a foot out and hope for the best. And now Bordeaux, they are 5 metres out from the try line here. 90, or in fact less than that, 50 seconds remaining now of that red card. So Toulouse currently playing with 13. This is the time to score if you're Bordeaux and take the lead back. And the rolling maul shaping up nicely. Willis was able to stop it again with another crucial tackle. Waki wants the ball. And he's going to go himself here. Looking both ways. He decides to go off to the right. And just short of the try line, another advantage in play for Bordeaux. They must be related brothers. Now, Tame Funa's over the line. The big Tongan has scored the try for Bordeaux. That now gives them the lead in this contest for the first time in a wee while. Josh Brennan on time to get down and dirty. And also we have got the Dupont yellow for 10 minutes. But the finish there from the big man, Ben Tame Funa. He's now scored in twice in a row. He did score in the round of 16 game up against the Leicester Tigers. And I mean, this close to the line, your chance of stopping Ben Tame Funa is pretty much 0 to none. And he had 2 men in front of him. He goes over the top, gets the ground, almost a grounding. We have got there Toulouse defending, says Ruth. Well, damn, says Cameron. And there as well now Maxime Lucu, ready to go for the shot. Lucu to add the additional 2. That one has gone over. Dupont comes back as a prop replacement. Says I am nutty, and yeah, that Dupont yellow card cost them a little bit there. They are back to 14 men, but they will still be down a man for the next 9 minutes or so. They're just showing that one again. That ball did look a little bit high off the ground. Like they've said, just about got it down for Ben Tame Funa. I think he was given the benefit of the doubt, and that is going to be nicely taken by Cameron Waki just outside of the 22. Now Maxime Lucu. Kicking this one downfield, close to the sideline. Picked up high by Ramos. Now nicely taken by Maxime Lucu. There's a lot of space back there. 50-22 on the cards. Ramos chasing after it and does manage to get there. I looked out up. It looked very close to being off the ground, didn't it? It seemed like the hand of one of the Toulouse players had maybe just got underneath it. Tame Funa, like initially looked like he had all the momentum, but I would have liked to see it maybe from a different angle because it didn't seem like it was fully down for the big man. Is he good on nepotism? Says Splash TV. I haven't seen him play enough to be able to comment. But I feel like if anyone was going to bring that side of it up, it would have been a safe bet to assume that it would be you. Now, line out here. I've seen a couple highlights of him scoring tries, so he must be decent enough. But line out here for Limouth. We are now fast approaching the final quarter. Hard up, definitely can see it. And the defender's face is Jimbo. Yeah, the guy who got his hands underneath, he was looking off to the side trying to find the ref as if to say, look, I've done something here. And we have there Jay Carberry, used to play for Bordeaux. Or Joey Carberry, I assume that is. How's he playing with now? Where's Carberry at the moment? Is he URC or top 14? Joey Carberry. Is he with Munster or Ulster or someone? No, I don't actually remember where Carberry's ended up. Now, Retier. Paul is going to be there as a Bar supporter. There's an air of inevitability. This will end up being a bit of a thumping in Bordeaux next month, says Josh T. Do you back your boys up against Toulouse, though? Josh, out of curiosity. Of course, that game would be considered as the home game for Bath. Like, I mean, that seems self-explanatory. I was about to ask, would you prefer that opposition? But do you think Bath have a good chance up against Toulouse, I think is my better question, with the game not taking place in France. Left Munster season and a half ago, so where's he ended up now? Now, going off to the side, into Mac. Let's take there from Lebel. I asked because their dad played for Toulouse. Says Splash TV. So do you consider Roman Intermac a nepotism signing Splash TV then, or do you feel like he's earned his spot? Bordeaux, that's a steal there. And the penalty won by Ben Tamefuna. The fact that they can bring him off the bench with around 30 minutes to go, he just goes out there, scores tries, reaps havoc in the breakdowns as well. Complete momentum shift since that man's made his way onto the field. Bordeaux says, Justin, Bordeaux what? As in for Joey Carberry. I'm sure he was somewhere recently that we saw him. It might have been Bordeaux. Doesn't get a lot of starts. Yeah, he plays his top 14 for Bordeaux. So he was signed for Bordeaux from 2024. But he's only played 10 games for them. Since 2024, that's not many. Carberry is on Bordeaux. So here's Justin. Oh, they're lining up the 3 points here, Bordeaux, and they have slotted it over for Maxime Lucu, just taking that penalty, running with the points. Joey Carberry got an ACL. So still at Bordeaux, but going to Leinster. Says, I am nutty in 2022. I was convinced he was the guy. Says Splash TV. And Deportier, Rensburg, Echeverri, or Echigare, Bureaus will all be available for the final, says Dennis. It's actually going to be a headache, isn't it, for Bordeaux to work out who to actually go with in their lineup. But of course, the first step is getting there. And this game, starting to go in their momentum a little bit more, Bordeaux, but it is far from over. 17 minutes remain. And Toulouse, they are down to 14 for another 4 minutes from there. They will have 15 on the field, which will be the first time since the 37th minute of this game that they would be able to say that. Now, kicking this one downfield, Maxime Lucu has got it close to the sideline, manages to keep it in the field of play there for Roman Intermac. Now, Lebel. Some great tackles being made by the Bordeaux forwards at the moment, stopping that line break chance. Cyril Bailly, tackled by Limouth. Up to the 40-metre line. Leinster will have a long day if they play Bordeaux, says Dennis. The big one's if. Because, of course, when those two sides can meet, it would be the final. That is the penalty awarded to Toulouse. Looks like an injury here for Jack Willis. That is the last player that Toulouse can afford to lose. Not just for this competition, but also just in general. Fair chance versus Toulouse, but Bath got taken apart. Front versus Toulon in the group stages. A defence was on holiday on Friday. Says Josh T. Yes, it would be an intriguing type of matchup, wouldn't it? And it would depend on how focused Toulouse are on the competition, too. How do players fall off? Some are based off injury. You know, you look at some of the guys who suffer that one big injury and from there they never reach their same level. And I don't think that's what's happened for Intermac, but sometimes your style, the way that you play can sometimes just become a thing of the past. You know, players work you out. It's like pretty much any sport. How the more that you watch a certain player, you know, teams do a lot more research now than they used to. So Intermac, the style that worked for him in 2022 is not going to work now because teams have worked out, you know, those little moments, the little things that he does. But he's still, you know, he's still going very well. And Bath hasn't beaten Bordeaux, says Dennis. That one's going to be kicked into touch. It's nicely done. And Toulouse now, they have turned down the 3 points. Gary Ringrose, a perfect example. I'm trying to think of someone else too that was on my mind recently, how ever since his injury, he hasn't been the same player. But I can't think of who it was. It was actually an example I think we used a couple weeks ago. Now throw in, nicely taken there by Toulouse. This one's going to be in their hands. Oh, is that playing the man from the middle of the ruck? It might have been a little bit. That ball's popped out the side, close to the sideline for Toulouse. They've still got their ball, or at least they do for half a minute here. It was a slight stealing opportunity for Bordeaux, but they haven't been able to make the most of it. And it's still only 7-1 try away. Yeah, if Toulouse can score with 14 men here, although a lack of people in the breakdown, Wocky on the ball, and Bordeaux win themselves the penalty. Injury football players have many, but stay at par, says Splash TV. And sometimes it depends on what your injury is. You know, like, if you have anything to do with ACL, MCL, any of those type of ones, sometimes, you know, it just doesn't fully recover. Like, as much as there's a lot more medical attention and rehab and everything like that, sometimes you never can push that the same way that you could beforehand. And it's a bit similar with some certain players with concussion. You know, you take that really nasty head knock. Some guys just don't quite run into contact as hard as they used to out of fear of, once again, getting concussed afterwards as well. Wocky, I was on that side, says I am nutty. Nice take there. Line out time from Adam Coleman. Wocky distributes it back to Lamouth. Low tackle made by Merkler. He's made his way on to replace the red card recipient. Close to the sideline. Lebel takes it nicely. Bright yellow boots for him. They need to get them moving in the very near future. A big three-man tackle there on Thomas Ramos, including Wocky as well as Mofana. Now Merkler. Tackled by Ben Tame Furner. Two big men colliding there. Looks like Ramos has a bit of a sore leg at the moment. He was staying down for a bit more time, but he is back up now. Big shot, a beautiful offload there from Toulouse, starting to move this ball around there a little bit more. Now up inside of Bordeaux's half, Teddy Thomas will play half. 13 minutes remaining. Isn't it all mental? What, is it a concussion? Not, well, like, it's to do with your brain, but, like, sometimes mental, but sometimes literally physically. Like, in terms of ACL and whatnot, there have been many times where you see a guy just not quite be able to find that same, I guess, dexterity in a muscle or an injured part of the body. It's like someone who injures their back. Like, they're not like going to be slower mentally because of the back injury. They're literally going to be physically slower because of it. Going off to the right-hand side, Serubai. Ramos. Into Matt, considering the cross kick here. It's going to bounce awkwardly. Stays in the field of play. Picked up by Rayasi. And an important tackle was missed there from Thomas. Trying the offload. Biarray kicks it straight up into the hands of Ramos. Driven towards the sideline, but gets his offload away. Now forward he goes. Jack Willis plays half. Goes to Merkler again. I wonder what will DuPont's excuse be when they lose, just wondering, says Harris. Sounds like you're very focused on DuPont in this scenario, even though he's not even on the field at the moment. But that looked like it was a close chance to steal the ball for Bordeaux, and they have managed to get it again. Going back, Chalebert on the short side. One more pass on the outside. Retier. This is a massive chance. He is carving them inside out. Oh, he's driven into touch, though. He had, I think it was Brennan, running backwards at all sorts of weird angles. In fact, no, it would have been... Well, it's Jack Willis who's hurt himself a bit here too. But it might have been Theo Intermac who had to look over his shoulder trying to find a way of making the tackle. Got turned inside out a couple times. And then just did enough. Oh no, it was Intermac, in fact, who managed to make that last minute tackle. Pat Lambie, his concussion ended his career. Says Longku. And yeah, unfortunately, it can happen as well. And like, I feel like for us watching the game, we get to sit here comfortably watching. And some people, you know, they'll say, oh, he should have gone into contact harder and all that sort of thing. And oh, get up when they're injured. But, you know, for these guys, they are extremely tough individuals. Like we're seeing, I think that's an injury at the moment for Boucheton. He's going to play through it. And I hope for the best. Like the amount that this means to some of these guys out there, definitely this rivalry match between the two sides, like they will put the body fully on the line. And we've seen that throughout the first 69 minutes of this game. Tian Jacobs, he will make his way on. Actually, Boucheton not able to continue. Asmino playing at 13. Is he doing well? Nah. I don't think I'll play him at 13 again in a Champions Cup game. That's 2 in a row now that he has struggled. The only thing I can think of that he's done up until getting concussed, more than likely, was he ended up just dropping the ball and then it created a line break for Toulouse. But yeah, he hasn't found his feet in this Champions Cup playoff 2 matches. That's close to the sideline. Tell you what, Toulouse almost had that one. It looked like it may have been a knock-on on the ground now. Maxime Lucu moving forward yet again. Now trying to sneak through off those. Jalabert knocks it on. And a big driving tackle on him as well afterwards. But it should be the advantage here for Toulouse for that drop ball. And it is Antoine Dupont back out on the field looking to right those wrongs after getting the yellow card. Now good tack and run forward from Intermac there. Now Dupont across to Merkle. And we have got there Lalicio left. Who we talking about? I missed one, didn't I, somewhere? Brumbies and Wallabies 10. Gave the game away because of concussion. Quintapaya came back off a massive knee injury. And yeah, for a start off that injury for Quintapaya, it seemed like he wasn't going to be able to reach his same form that he had prior. But now he's almost playing the best rugby he's ever played. Big hit, says Jimbo. Yeah, there's some huge shots coming in from both of these sides. Biarray trying to sneak his way through. One more try here for Bordeaux. You'd have to say that they should almost be able to close out this game. A good run from Rayasi. Maxime Lucu goes across Jalabert. Lemoth, ball on the outside. Coleman wanted the offload. That one looked forward. And Matthew Carley has now ruled it as such. Toulouse will have themselves the position again. Who is currently at 13 for Bordeaux. I believe they're playing... it's either Retier or they've made a bit of a reshuffle with that back line. Because we've actually seen Retier out on the wing quite a bit. But I think... positionally, he was the straight swap for Pinot. At the bottom, no one to blame but himself for tripping lads. Says Big Rig. He's out for 10 months with knee injury. He's back, captain fantastic to point. And Toulouse won 3 out of the last 5 between them, says Justin. It's pretty close in that regard. And what was the last result between these two teams? Bordeaux won at home. And then also the one prior to that in the Champions Cup, we did see Bordeaux beat Toulouse last year's semi-final. Where's Capouso? I think injured at the moment. Either that or just not making it into the 23. I mean, it's a pretty deep lineup for both of these sides in terms of the players that they have got. But now scrum feed here. 9 minutes remaining. Our scoreboard needs an update for the time. There we go. And injured says Jimbo and injured says Cameron. Now, Toulouse. They get themselves a converted try here. We go into a situation of perhaps chance of extra time. And if we are still drawing at the end of extra time, it would then go into the kickoff. That is something that Toulouse have had before in playoff rugby. It was only a few years ago that one took place. Maxime Lucu, as he got the steel note penalty. Goes the way of Toulouse there. Our last match, UBB, rested 1 international. Toulouse rested 8. Says AEC, and also we have got the horn blower is on. Says I am nutty, and also Theo is a back, right? I think he's a forward. I believe. Oh, if he's a back, he's a solid looking back. to be fair. I think he's a forward, right? Or is he just a big halfback? I've been looking around for him, but Dupont's on the field at the moment. So yeah, I think he's a big forward, back rower. Like loose forward, I should say. We see him there. Got that good size, height about him. Now line out here. Nice. Oh, no, that's gone over the top, and that's going to be claimed by Bordeaux Mofana. Almost running it through. I wait for Nykirk, blew his knee out during a shimmy. In the touch rugby game, was going to possibly supersede Bolt. Oh, that's close to the sideline. Kept in the field of play, or is it? No, the ball's gone into touch. And this will be a 50-22. I believe for Bordeaux. They're talking about how Interbank knew he had to try and keep this ball alive because of just that. Well, sorry, it was Ramos, in fact. Tried to keep that ball in the field of play. It was the kick from Jalabert. Straight away, it did look close. It came off the fingertip of Ramos, so it's the equivalent of a 50-22 in some regards. He was over the sideline when he tried to pop it back in field, so 7 minutes left, and Bordeaux now 5 metres out from the line have got a very crucial line out. You interrupted by some brain song sound ad. Says Michael there. The kickoff competition was against Munster. It certainly was. And Munster have had their fair share of kickoff competitions. They had one up against the Sharks. It was where that shushing, or sorry, not the shushing, but the winking of Jaden Hendrickson became a thing. Now rolling maul, Lamoth dragged down. It's a penalty advantage in favour of Bordeaux. Adam Coleman just short of the line. Ben Tame Funa, he's lurking next to the breakdown. So is Cameron Waukee. He scored in similar fashion not too long ago, actually in the last match. He is just a metre out from the line. Waukee now, oh, that was a drop ball. It's rolled us back with Jalabert with a pass on the outside. Bouncy ball to Retier. He'll finish it there. They may just check the ground, or not the grounding, sorry, but the knock on potentially in the breakdown from Waukee, but if not, okay, Jack Willis has just had the conversation with the referee. I believe they will be checking it to see if Waukee knocked it on or whether he knocked it back. I would say it's going to be a draw, and then we will have extra time, and then a kickoff. I can be wrong, says Hardis. That looked like a knock-on in the breakdown from Bordeaux. But I believe the TMO at the moment should be checking every inch of that breakdown to make sure that it was not. Definitely with such a crucial try being scored there. There's no denying that Retier got it down. Pinot celebrating it from the stand, or sorry, from the dugout as well. Madosh Tumbwe. Right, we got one replay of that breakdown, and that was it. I would like to think that the TMO would have looked at it more than once, because that looked a little bit close to a knock-on. But it's going to be missing away to the side for Maxime Luku. Theo's preferred position is 8. I like that song, says Cameron. But it's a nice pass on the outside from Jalabert. 3 for the penalty, says Splash TV. Right. Okay, if they checked it, it's been cleared. Anyway, did you see the bloody Northampton Bath game? I have watched the highlights. I'm going to be rewatching that game, I'm sure, multiple times, though, because it was, like, even from the highlights, it was absolutely incredible. And I think a lot of people have said it's one of the best games of the Champions Cup so far, and there's not really many arguments about it either. Just brilliant back and forth attack and rugby from the two sides. It had the drama of the comeback. It had the intense moments, the cards, everything about that game was just so good. Now, Jalabert with a 12-point lead as well now for this Bordeaux side. Biarray passes to Salicia. Reasi goes round the back with the pass of Berti, running up to almost the 22 of Toulouse. Seems like now Bordeaux playing with a little bit of freedom. That was almost a knock-on from Maxime Luku again there. He's also played that one from the ground. Bordeaux, they are in control. Toulouse, Paul Bath. Can the extra time happen in the Rugby Nations League this year? I don't think so. I think draws are just draws. And that one, I could be wrong. Penalty awarded to Bordeaux. How's this game been, says the real pie man? It's been intense. Some really good rugby from these two sides. I think that scoreline makes it seem like Bordeaux have been in control, but I don't think I'd necessarily say that. I think that Toulouse were the better team in the first half. I think we would probably have seen here Bordeaux a bit of game management in the second, as well as the man advantage has really controlled the tempo and the way that the second half is played. Jack Willis, though, he's been a game changer for Toulouse. Without him in this game, who knows what the scoreline could have been, but he has been working his backside off. I'll see you in the top 14, Bordeaux, and we will have our revenge, says Cameron. And Saints were electric, but Bath ground them down. A Bath bench were the difference, says Jimbo. Henry Pollock was awesome, says Ruth. Now, it will be a kick at the post here for Maxime Luku off the penalty. Now, this is to pretty much guarantee this game. 77.5 minutes through. It's going to remain with 2 minutes left on the clock by the time that Maxime Luku lines this one up and we get another kickoff. So this is definitely the big chance to seal the game. And Maxime Luku, he is converted, making the score now 30 points to 15. I told someone Toulouse can't beat Bordeaux at home. This is not 2024. Says Dennis, and Bordeaux has had their last quarter. Or has had the last quarter. Yeah, absolutely. When did rugby start being a thing in France? Quite a while ago, to be fair. Like top 14, I always talk about it. Best bowl call, best atmosphere when it comes to a league competition around the world. Although Gallagher Premiership's right up there too, to be fair, in terms of the support that the crowd show for their teams. But like top 14, when a side comes into town, you just know about it. You know, there's the rivalry games, and there's so much on the line in the top 14. Like it's always awesome listening to the crowd. Like Bordeaux crowd have been singing throughout this whole match. They've been cheering for their side. There has been a few Toulouse supporters in the stands too, but like you can hear the passion, which I think is absolutely incredible. And we have got there Bordeaux have been unbeaten and have the best backline, says Dennis. We got robbed, says Cameron. The ball's still there for Toulouse. Currently 15 points difference between these two sides because their budgets are crazy. Yeah, but that doesn't necessarily put like crowds to support the sides the way that they do, if that makes sense. Like Wales are a perfect example of that on the opposite end of the spectrum. How the Welsh national team have been struggling for a long time, yet every time they play at the Principality, you would think they were on a 10-match winning streak, the way that the crowd gets behind them. And it's one of those things, you just can't buy passion from supporters. You have to try and bring it out of them, and that's what the top 14 does so well. Greetings, Hamish, says good. Welcome in. Now going off to the left-hand side. Paul Wales says Big Rig. Yeah, probably a brutal example, but it was meant in the best possible way for the Welsh in terms of the support that people show for them. Bordeaux has the best back line. So here's Dennis now going away to the left-hand side. Bit of open space there for Mathieu. The woman lost again in Wales despite it going to the wire. So here's Big Rig. Yeah, closest game of the Women's Six Nations out of the three, wasn't it? For that matchup up against the Scots. Now Retier. They're up to 80 minutes though on this contest. Maxime Luku. It looked like he wanted one more try. Bordeaux may look for one last attack here because from here they cannot lose this game. France is that country where club rugby triumphs or trumps national rugby. Says Jimbo. And that one's going to be kicked into touch by Maxime Luku. It is the end of this game. 30 points to 15. Bordeaux booked themselves through to the semi-finals to take on Bath. And on the other side, Leinster, they will be playing up against Toulon. Which I think means, if I am not mistaken, we've got two French sides, one English side, and also we've got one Irish side. Oh, as well, 15, says Splash TV. Yeah, and it's a phenomenal team at that. Jalabert, crucial game for him from that 10 jersey. It was the try at the start of the second half that completely turned the game around. And thank you, Hamish. Excellent as always. Says Justin. And also have a great week all. Says Big Rig. And there as well. A bit of disappointment for Toulouse, although they are still sitting at the top of the bunch in terms of the top 14. So they will now be able to put their firm focus on winning that competition. And UBB versus Leinster, another French team they lose to, although that would only be in the final, I am nutty. So you're booking those two sides through right now by the sounds of it. They will be playing in Spain for that final. Bordeaux better win the whole thing, says Cameron. Yeah, well, I made a bold statement at the start of this game. I said winner of this game, I believe, will go on to win the whole competition. And I think that the way that Bordeaux have played here, Seeing some nice moments there. Damien Pinot with Jack Willis. Willis played his backside off, like I said, who's winning the golf. It's actually really difficult. At the start of day 3, I would have said McIlroy, but there's so many guys now in the running. You've got, like, Cameron Young had a brilliant round yesterday, and if it wasn't for that ball going in the pond, it seemed like that took his momentum away, but he still kept going after that. You've got Sam Burns, who looks like he's right up there. Really can't underestimate someone like a Justin Roche or Shane Lowry after getting his hole in one. So I think it's going to be a really good day. They're currently playing at the moment. I see that John Rahm was partnered with his fellow countryman and Sergio Garcia. Neither of them have really fired today, sadly. What if it's Leinster versus Bath in the final? They'll still be playing in Spain. No matter what, they are playing in Spain for that final. And so it stays in France, says Cameron. UBB defence was top tier. Yeah, some crucial tackles being made. And, that can make all the difference. Just stopping that attack of these very brilliant sides. Take care of yourself and your cold. Get some sleep, says Ruth. One on Bordeaux, thanks, Amish Beautiful Commentary. In 1906, established teams like Racing, Stade Francais, and others, says Michael there. And card made the difference. The red card definitely did play a little bit of a factor for the second half of it. First half of it, though, Toulouse actually scored more points. They scored 8 points while that red card was in play. That yellow card of DuPont, though, definitely played a bit of factor too. But I think by that stage, Toulouse almost looked out of it. It seemed like Bordeaux had fully taken momentum by that stage and were going to score there unless something drastic happened. Take care, everyone. I'm going into my room and cry. Says Cameron there, and many thanks, HC's good. No worries at all. But yeah, it's been greatly appreciated, you guys tuning in all throughout the weekend. I will say next weekend is absolutely hectic. We are going to have the Hong Kong Sevens starting from Friday afternoon here in New Zealand, so only about 4 and a bit days away from that one taking place. We've got Super Rugby. We've got the URC is going to be back on the channel as well. I don't think we'll get to cover any Women's Six Nations or Pacific 4 series, just with the amount of other games that are taking place. But yeah, it's going to be a bit of a hectic time coming up the next 7 days. But nonetheless, once again, thank you all very much for tuning in. If you did enjoy, of course, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. I will see you all for the next one.